Welcome to the Power History Channel. In this documentary, we explore the full range of armored vehicles and tanks deployed by the French Army during the Indochina War, from reconnaissance vehicles to frontline armored fighting machines that shaped the battlefield. During the First Indochina War, the French Army operated several American-made armored vehicles, including the M5 Stuart light tank. The M5 Stuart was an improved version of the earlier Stuart series, developed near the end of World War II. It weighed about 15.4 tons and was operated by a crew of 4. Powered by 2 Cadillac V8 gasoline engines, the tank could reach a top speed of up to 58 kilometers per hour, making it highly mobile for a light tank of its era. In terms of firepower, the M5 Stuart was armed with a 37mm M6 main gun, supported by a coaxial 7.62mm machine gun and a 12.7mm anti-aircraft machine gun. Its armor thickness reached a maximum of around 38 millimeters, offering protection against small arms fire, but leaving it vulnerable to dedicated anti-tank weapons. After World War II, France received the M5 Stuart through American military aid programs and deployed it to Indochina in the late 1940s. In this theater, the tank was primarily used for patrol duties, convoy escort, infantry support, and urban security operations. Thanks to its lightweight and high mobility, the M5 Stuart was well suited for narrow roads, weak bridges, and lowland terrain common in Vietnam. However, as the war progressed, its thin armor and limited firepower proved inadequate against mines, recoilless rifles, and increasingly effective ambush tactics. By the early 1950s, the M5 Stuart was gradually replaced by more capable vehicles, such as the M24 Chaffee and the M4 Sherman, marking the end of its service as a World War II-era tank in a very different and demanding conflict.
During the First Indochina War, in addition to light tanks, the French Army also employed an important fire support vehicle, the M8 howitzer motor carriage, commonly known as the M8 HMC. The M8 HMC was developed on the chassis of the M5 Stuart light tank, replacing the turret with an open-topped fighting compartment armed with a 75mm M2/M3 howitzer. The vehicle weighed approximately 15.6 tons, was operated by a crew of 4, and was powered by 2 Cadillac V8 gasoline engines, giving it a top speed of around 58 kilometers per hour. In terms of firepower, the M8 HMC's 75mm howitzer could fire high explosive, smoke, and illumination rounds, making it highly effective in the role of infantry support and suppression of fortified positions. For self-defense, the vehicle was equipped with a 12.7mm machine gun. However, the open fighting compartment left the crew exposed to small arms fire and shell fragments. Armor protection on the M8 HMC was relatively light, with a maximum thickness of about 38 millimeters, sufficient against small arms fire, but inadequate for direct combat with enemy anti-tank weapons. This reflected its intended role as a mobile fire support vehicle, rather than a frontline tank. After World War II, France received the M8 HMC from American surplus stocks and military aid, and deployed it to Indochina in the late 1940s. In this theater, the M8 HMC was commonly used to provide fire support for infantry, attack entrenched positions, defend strong points, and support military operations. In the challenging terrain of jungles, mountains, and narrow roads, the M8 HMC offered valuable mobile firepower. However, as the war progressed, its thin armor and open-top design made it increasingly vulnerable to mines, ambushes, and anti-tank weapons. Although it was not a war-deciding weapon, The M8 HMC remains one of the most representative self-propelled artillery vehicles used by French forces in the Indochina War, illustrating the adaptation of World War II-era equipment to a very different type of conflict.
During the First Indochina War, in order to increase firepower and breakthrough capability, the French Army deployed the M4A1 Sherman medium tank, one of the most iconic tanks of World War II. The M4A1 Sherman had a combat weight of approximately 30.3 tons and was operated by a crew of 5. It was powered by a Continental R975 gasoline engine, producing around 400 horsepower, allowing a top speed of about 40 to 48 kilometers per hour, depending on terrain conditions. In terms of armament, the M4A1 Shermans used by French forces in Indochina were primarily equipped with the 75mm M3 main gun, capable of firing high-explosive, armor-piercing, and smoke rounds. This made the tank highly effective in direct infantry support and the assault of fortified positions. Secondary weapons included a 7.62mm coaxial machine gun, a 7.62mm hull-mounted machine gun, and a 12.7mm anti-aircraft machine gun. Armor protection on the M4A1 was significantly stronger than that of light tanks, with frontal armor thickness reaching up to approximately 75mm. This provided improved survivability against mines and small arms fire, although the tank remained vulnerable to heavier anti-tank weapons. After World War II, France received M4A1 Shermans from American surplus stocks and military aid programs, deploying them to Indochina in the late 1940s. In this theater, the M4A1 Sherman was used in offensive operations, strong-point defense, direct fire support for infantry, and the seizure of key positions. However, the Sherman's heavy weight limited its mobility on narrow roads, weak bridges, and jungle terrain. Despite these challenges, its powerful armament and solid armor made the M4A1 Sherman one of the most formidable armored vehicles fielded by French forces during the Indochina War. The M24 Chaffee was the most modern and important light tank used by the French Army, especially in the final stages of the conflict. The M24 Chaffee was developed by the United States near the end of World War II as a replacement for the Stuart series. It had a combat weight of approximately 18.4 tons and was operated by a crew of 4. The tank was powered by 2 Cadillac V8 gasoline engines, producing a combined output of around 220 horsepower, allowing a top speed of about 56 kilometers per hour. In terms of firepower, the M24 Chaffee was armed with a 75mm M6 main gun, which was significantly more powerful than the 37mm guns found on earlier light tanks. This gun could fire high-explosive, armor-piercing, and smoke rounds, making it well-suited for infantry support and the attack of fortified positions. Secondary armament included a 7.62mm coaxial machine gun, a 7.62mm hull-mounted machine gun, and a 12.7mm anti-aircraft machine gun. Armor protection on the M24 Chaffee reached a maximum thickness of around 38 millimeters. While not particularly thick, it was well balanced with the vehicle's mobility, allowing the tank to operate effectively on narrow roads, weak bridges, and difficult terrain typical of Indochina. France received the M24 Chaffee through American military aid and deployed it to Indochina in the early 1950s. The tank was widely used in mobile operations, strong-point defense, and direct fire support for infantry, and it became especially famous during the Battle of Dien Bien Phu in 1954, where several Chafees were dismantled and airlifted into the besieged base.
Although it could not change the overall outcome of the war, the M24 Chaffee is widely regarded as the most effective tank fielded by French forces in the Indochina War, symbolizing their efforts to adapt to a challenging and unconventional battlefield.
In the later stages of the First Indochina War, in order to increase heavy firepower, the French Army deployed the M36 Jackson tank destroyer, one of the most powerful armored vehicles it operated in this theater. The M36 Jackson was an American tank destroyer developed near the end of World War II, based on the chassis of the M4 Sherman. It had a combat weight of around 30 tons and was operated by a crew of 5. The vehicle was powered by a Ford GAA V8 gasoline engine, producing approximately 500 horsepower, allowing a top speed of about 40 kilometers per hour. The most distinctive feature of the M36 Jackson was its firepower. The vehicle was armed with a 90mm M3 main gun, capable of firing armor-piercing and high-explosive rounds with significantly greater destructive power than the 75mm guns previously used by French forces. For self-defense, the M36 was also equipped with a 12.7mm anti-aircraft machine gun. The fighting compartment of the M36 Jackson was open-topped, giving the crew excellent visibility and faster gun handling, but also leaving them exposed to small arms fire, shrapnel, and mortar fragments. Armor protection reached a maximum thickness of around 108 millimeters on the turret front, sufficient against light weapons, but not intended for close-range combat in complex terrain. France received the M36 Jackson through American military aid and deployed it in limited numbers to Indochina in the early 1950s. In this conflict, the M36 was primarily used as heavy direct fire support, engaging fortified positions, bunkers, and strongpoints, rather than in its original tank destroyer role. Although its powerful gun provided a significant firepower advantage, the M36 Jackson's large size and weight made it difficult to operate on narrow roads, weak bridges, and jungle terrain. Nevertheless, its presence gave French forces a notable boost in heavy fire support during several key engagements.